Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Insert Name Here. It's a podcast about nothing for nobody. If you take it seriously, you're redacted. Now, let's start the show. Hey,
what's up?
Hello, and welcome to Insert Name Here. It's a podcast about nothing for nobody. If you take it seriously, you're redacted. I'm your co-host, Doug Bennett.
And I'm Band Kid Humor, your other co-host, Seth Nacho.
That is so true, though.
See,
the
fact that you're saying that's so true is crazy, because someone commented that on one of my most recent YouTube shorts. And said I had Band Kid Humor. And I was just like,
I co-sign that.
I guess. I don't like is that an insult or is that a I feel like you're trying to make fun of me, but I don't really care. I thought it was funny.
I mean,
I thought the insult Band Kid Humor was funny. Like, you know what I mean?
It is more of an observation than anything. And if you were choosing to take offense to it, it would be a very effective insult. And, or it sounds like you're leaning into it.
Yeah, so I don't really care.
Sounds like my main market is the weird high schoolers. You come get some of this content.
I always thought of myself more as a theater kid than a band kid, but
I disagree, man. It's all good though.
I didn't roll around my suitcase on wheels as my backpack, okay? I think I was doing a little better than the band kid. The general band kid.
In the Venn diagram of what kind of kids there are, that occupies two different circles. The cringe factor, therefore, being compounded. That's not mutually exclusive to being a band kid. That's all I'll say. Okay. I'm also not going to sit here as a 30-year-old man and litigate high school social dynamics.
Yeah, right? Isn't that fun?
I'll be like, haha, true, that's right. I'm moving on.
Yeah, I imagine the person who commented that was probably around that age, so that was funny.
Yeah.
Not really a thing that I care about in this day and age. Band kid? Are you talking about what's that? Rush? That's a band,
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, sorry. We need to talk about the Spotify exclusive premium content, don't we?
A rare occasion where we're bringing it fully into Maine. Although, if you want to hear the actual clip, hop down, links down below. Yeah, the director of the government official top-level office of science and technology. He gave an address today, as you do. You give occasional addresses and updates on what your department's all about.
Yeah.
And he talks about sort of the general state of tech and where we're at. And the landmark highlight clip that we highlighted is where he says that we have the technologies to manipulate space and time and annihilate distance.
Yeah, that was interesting. What does that mean? What is that? What does that entail?
Yeah. Well, I mean, annihilating distance to me entails fucking teleportation.
Like a warp drive, like a wormhole.
Yeah. This distance.
Annihilating distance is a strange phrasing, right? Like, annihilate generally doesn't mean to skip distance. It would mean to destroy the distance.
Yeah, or render it into a zero value of non-existence.
Okay, well maybe that's what they meant.
Yeah.
Because when I think annihilate, the imagery that comes in my head is destroy. I imagine a huge explosion and they're all of a sudden on the other side.
Yeah. Fucking.
But space and time though. Time stops for no man. Time keeps on ticking.
Well, time is relative, Does it exist at all? That's hard to say.
Damn.
But
I thought we agreed. I thought it was so you know how a coordinate plane, right? There's an X and Y axis. If you had the 3D dimensions, there's a Z axis, right? And supposedly if you had 4D, you could see time. That's the fourth axis. Supposedly. Okay. So maybe they figured out how to tap into that and control it or something. I don't know, but that's pretty wild.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what we have.
Yeah.
We have the Tesseract! like we're the Avengers, dude. Like, we got the Time Stone and the Space Stone.
I'm glad that you brought up the coordinate plane, because sort of where my head immediately went to, and this is not really teleportation per se, but like annihilating distance. You take that plane, right? Take 2 points on it, fold them together so that they're in contact.
Yeah.
Distance gone.
That's the whole wormhole theory, I think. Like, you saw Interstellar, didn't you? Or no, maybe you probably didn't.
No,
You know,
I
you
did.
You did see that one?
In theaters, dude.
Hell yeah. So, the whole idea of the wormhole thing they talk about is like that. The folding, to where the 2 points are connected.
Yeah, turns out movies are real.
Interstellar did a pretty good job, honestly. For the science. For most of it.
Yeah.
Except for the love part. That got a little iffy.
The real fourth dimension.
But anyway, I'm not gonna sing the praises of Interstellar, but that is insane. We need to see some things. Can we control the weather?
Dude, well, it depends on who we is, and we already know they can.
Are the direct energy weapons? Is that part of this? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, that'd be fire as a kind of weather. I don't know if you're ready for that one.
Fire? Is that what California experienced? LA experienced fire.
Yeah.
Today's forecast: flames. It's gonna be hot. What's the weather like? What's Tom Miller? What's the weather like? It's hot. Do you know what I'm talking about? That Family Guy.
Do it. The Family Guy enjoyer on the podcast. You're asking me if he gets the Ollie the Weatherman reference.
Thank you for
I'm
clarifying his name.
I'm fucking offended, dude.
I'm glad you got it.
It's insane.
You're right. You are the Family Guy enjoyer. You're right. I am not as Family Guy enjoyer as you are. But anyway, cool. Are we good? Moving on from premium content?
Yeah, that had to be right on the first
That's
time.
pretty fucking big.
I don't think there's anything more important than that in the world,
What?
other than the announcement of space-time manipulation and distance annihilation technology.
So it's like that the U.S. could do that.
Well, sure, at least the U.S.
That's what they're saying, right?
You can't ever preclude that anybody else, any of the other major countries on the planet, could be just as far along as us.
For
I
sure.
don't think anybody's ahead of us. Certainly. There's
There's
just no way. There's one field in which China is ahead, but that's about it.
What are they ahead of us?
They're way ahead on like gene manipulation and biohacking.
Okay. Well, I feel like all the other like Western and like Russia, I don't feel like they'd be ahead of us. They've been going through too much.
They're ahead of us in missiles, but
Who, Russia?
yeah.
But that's not the same thing as space-time manipulation, bro. I'm
It
talking about.
is a kind of annihilation.
Yeah. I'm talking about like in terms of research and development. I think we're probably the furthest with that shit. Technology, I guess. China's got us beat on biology.
Yeah. So
And China makes all their industry look really good with all their advertisements.
because it is. Fucking.
Xiao Hongshu, brother.
Hey.
But like, what can we do with this technology, man?
Oh,
Are we gonna go back in time?
yeah, interplanetary colonization is the first thing I'm thinking of.
That would be
Go-
an Elon thing. Elon
Going-
wanted to colonize Mars.
Well, he wants to do it the normal way.
Did he ever get to Mars, by the way? That was like his big goal, remember?
Yeah, no, Mars is not up yet. The timeline for Mars, basically, so the whole picture, imagine the whole solar system, right?
Yeah.
There's a pretty substantial meteor belt in the way of us and Mars.
There's not. You're thinking between Mars and Jupiter. The asteroid belt.
This is what Elon's saying, okay?
Oh, there might be some asteroids in the way,
So
I guess. But
there-
like,
there-
the
there-
asteroid belt is between.
There's some shit in the way that gets in the way about every 2 years. Every 2 years there's a window where you can kind of go through. So
Got it. The timing and
yeah, everything that's happening right now is like we are in the next push. The next time this window opens up that we can send something, we gotta send it.
Right.
So everything that's going on is to get a substantial Mars mission out for the first time, He's like, and then 2 years later they can come back. Then 2 years after that we go for real. So
hopefully unmanned
three-
the first time. Is that what he's saying?
3 cycles from now, the beginning of Mars colonization is going to be taking place. So that's what his plan is.
All right. Well, speaking of space,
Oh yeah,
I think you know what I'm alluding to.
fucking women in space, dude.
When did this happen? Was this supposed to be
It
the
was
show? We
this
talked
week.
about it last week. It was this
No,
week.
Yeah,
So, our boy Jeff Bezos sent
yeah.
Oh,
Sent his
cool.
girlfriend and her 4 favorite famous women.
up in space for like how many minutes?
Like
20?
7 minutes. It was a fucking nothing. By the way, this wasn't even an innovation in technology, right? There was nothing innovative. Like, I want to get ahead of this. Nothing innovative or worth celebrating about any of it, except Katy Perry, Queen of the Moon. You gotta respect that. You gotta love that.
Katy Perry's an astronaut.
They voted her queen.
But I want to talk about so like I think the whole crew was supposed to be women,
Yeah, well, it was.
and well,
But it wasn't really a crew either. So the way this technology works, right? Rocket and little pod that people can hang out in, like a little fucking trolley car, right? They shoot the rocket up, and the pod just kind of lifts off, hangs in low Earth orbit for about 7 minutes before it naturally falls back down. Nothing about the pod or rocket assisted, no controls on it, nothing.
does the pod have like a parachute or something? How does it come down safely?
It did, yeah.
Okay.
Well, then also you got to consider that things can only fall so fast, right?
Well, terminal velocity, yeah. Like it could be pretty hard.
Mr. Vocab word.
Okay, buddy.
It is kind of cool. The rocket they used to send it up was able to land on its own, but not an innovation. SpaceX already did that.
Yeah, but I thought.
Yeah,
I thought there was a crew.
They put 5 women in a box. A box that didn't have any buttons in it. It's just windows and a parachute.
I really thought it was like a crew because someone told me that it was an all-women crew. They said they thought one of the
No.
crew was a trans woman. They secretly snuck
That's
a man
really
on board.
mean
That's
to say
terrible.
about Jeff Bezos' girlfriend.
Oh, that is terrible.
That's a mean, nasty, awful thing.
And yet people say it about Michelle all the time.
Well, that's because it's true.
All right, well.
If it wasn't true, there'd be a lot of people getting sued over it. But it keeps getting said, and there keeps not being any legal action over it. Yeah.
Makes you think, doesn't it? But anyway,
We call that the Brigitte Macron
well,
theorem.
someone related. Oh yeah, because Macron's wife. But they related that trip to space to the people that died going to look for the Titanic in the submarine. Like it's basically the same thing. It's a bunch of rich people just doing a thing and being like, "Look, aren't we inspiring?"
Yeah.
Although the other people didn't make it back, but at least they
Well,
made it back. I'd be sad if Katy Perry died.
The fucking, I think it was called Voyager. Anyway, no, Deep Sea is what it was called. Deep Sea, a little different because while you do have to be a rich ass person to get that kind of access and opportunity, it's rich ass people who are like avid Titanic enthusiasts. This was them going about essentially their hobby a little bit. Like, what could culminate your Titanic obsession more than an actual visit to the thing?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I get that.
Whereas, sure, I'll get shot into space. I'm saying that Deep Sea more admirable than this.
Damn.
But yeah, pretty interesting coterie of women. Obviously, Katy Perry, Queen of the Moon, we love her. Fulfilled the prophecy. She was, in fact, extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, Jeff Bezos' girlfriend.
Different DNA.
Jeff Bezos' girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Which, what a power move. Making your boyfriend send you to space just so you don't get the ick. That's
Whoa!
that's alpha woman behavior.
You think she was like blackmailing him? Like, you better send me to fucking space.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dude, fucking Bezos, more like Beta.
Why didn't he go? Like, he should have gone with her.
And then the other noteworthy one to me, Gayle King, Oprah's best friend, got to go.
That's the woman I think I saw interviewed about it. And she was like, why are you guys not inspired? Why are you... It's like,
It's
dude,
fucking lame.
it's just an excuse to use a bunch of money. Like,
Ooh. Yeah, but no, very
did
funny.
you work hard to get there? Like,
Very
what?
funny and very silly.
silly.
Has it given? Yeah, but in like not in a derisive way. I'm like, oh, that's silly.
No, I know. I agree with you. I'm saying let's paint it a little more positive. It's like I don't blame them for doing this. I think yeah, of course they do that.
Yeah.
It's a fun little silly thing, but you shouldn't expect people to. Oh, you're so cool now. You know, you shouldn't expect people to like.
In terms of inspiration and admiration, fucking Laika more inspiring than what happened.
What?
Laika, the little Russian dog.
Oh.
Yeah, that they never recovered.
Oh. The first dog to go to space.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the
good proof of concept though. Laika gave her life for science,
yeah.
So they could figure out better parameters to protect the people that they would eventually send.
But it would have been more inspiring if they had spent that money on schools and hospitals and things. You know?
I don't know about that.
It'd be pretty inspiring.
Hospitals are pretty much only good for blowing up, and I mean nobody takes schools seriously anymore. So,
well, now that it's in the hands of the states, maybe they will.
yeah.
But Bezos is Canadian anyway.
They should have spent some of that. They should have spent that money on like a Mr. Beast video.
Oh, that would, dude! They made it into a Mr. Beast video. I just took 100 people to space, and like that would be insane. Jimmy Beast himself going to space.
And I do have kind of an issue even really calling it space though. Like,
did they go to space or did they just go into orbit? Like, how far did they make it? Did they make it out of the stratosphere?
yeah, see, I don't think that they made it past the stratosphere. I think they were still within atmosphere. Like, breathable? Probably not. You know?
No, not breathable.
7 minutes of weightlessness does not necessarily fully space make, at least in my eyes. But as far as my takeaways from this, Katy Perry, she is E.T. now, Queen of the Moon. We love to see it.
We love to see it.
It's a great choice. Some are calling it a good choice. I'm calling it a best choice. It's the best.
I'm glad to hear you giving such a pivotal declaration.
Someone has to. Give me a question, brother.
Sure. For you, my friend. In this life, we can take things seriously, or we can take it not so seriously. What's your thoughts on the nature of whimsy and being whimsical?
It is necessary to a degree and in certain amounts. For example, for the average person to live a life completely devoid of whimsy is to barely live a life at all. And
for sure,
it can do a lot of good for your mentality and for your relations to not take things so fucking seriously all the time. That being said, time and place for everything. There's some people that I absolutely do not want whimsy out of. They're not allowed to do whimsy.
What? There's people that aren't allowed to do whimsy?
Yeah. But I don't really want a whimsical surgeon. That's not really the time to freestyle and play lightly.
Hold on. What if they're whimsical outside of the surgery, but like during the surgery they take it very seriously, right?
Okay, so
is that what you mean? Like there's a time and place?
Me saying time and place includes that.
I thought the way you said it's like there's certain people, like there's certain kinds of people that should never be whimsical at all.
Well, I don't know that a president should ever be whimsical. Like if you're the president of something, I think during your term you should not have any whimsy.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just me though, man. What about you? Give me your general thoughts on whimsy.
So, for me personally, all the people online that like get mad about every little thing, and especially young people that are grown up with like the news the way it is and all this stuff, they need whimsy real bad. Like these people need whimsy in their lives. Stat pronto, 30 cc's of whimsy coming up, because like they take things way too seriously. Everything's so serious, and it's just like it's not meant to be, bro.
Yeah.
Or maybe you taking everything so seriously is gonna ruin your life. Like Not like you're gonna die, but your mental state. So I feel like everyone could use a little more whimsy in their lives
Certainly.
in this day and age when things are just the way they are. You know, when things are just the way they are, what can you do? Have a little whimsy. You know, I just think it's a good thing. I don't think the president. Excuse me. I don't think the president being whimsical is a bad thing, like you were saying. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think like you said, there's a time and place. So like he needs to be serious for a lot of his things, but like there's times when he can be whimsical. You know, I think it'd be fine for the president to have a little whimsy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Otherwise, he's just gonna be miserable for whatever the president
Yeah,
is.
he knew what he was signing up for. That's all I got to say about that.
Right.
Whimsy, huh?
Yeah, and that like I think it's just a cool concept.
Whimsy would be a great name for like a pet rabbit.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think anyway, I think whimsy's like a cool like state of mind that I feel like a lot of people have forgotten about. But whimsy's all about taking life as an adventure and seeing things as like obstacles as part of the adventure. You know?
In a way. I gotta tag in. I gotta tag in our favorite robot. It's been a while since we've grokked on the show.
Oh yeah.
Grok, what is whimsy all about? Question mark.
This is live grokking right now.
Whimsy is about playful, lighthearted, or fanciful behavior or style, often with a touch of charm or quirkiness. It's the kind of vibe you get from a quirky doodle, a spontaneous dance in the rain, or a story with a mischievous fairy. It's not serious or practical, two things a president needs to be. It's about sparking joy, creativity, or a bit of silliness for the sake of fun. Think of a colorful kite bobbing in the wind, or a pun that makes you groan and giggle. That's whimsy.
You tell me
A carefree sprinkle of delight in an otherwise mundane world.
You tell me the president can't hit a pun? Can't say a pun real quick to like his staff or something?
He has the rest of his life to do shit like that.
Right. Well, he shouldn't be whimsical with like the president of El Salvador.
You know what? There's one president that can be whimsical.
'Cause
Nayib Bukele deserves every bit of whimsy he wants to indulge
I mean,
in.
is that the dictator of El Salvador, the famous guy?
The democratically elected
Democratically
president
elected.
of El
I
Salvador.
don't know why I heard that. Okay. Anyway.
You heard it from some lib.
Yeah, I did. Because the lib, there was this crazy reporting where they recorded Trump talking about sending Americans to El Salvador instead of just the immigrants, like to put them in the prisons there. And I was like, oh shit, that's pretty crazy.
And see, that is Trump being whimsical about that situation. How appropriate do you find that? Not very.
Is that whimsy?
It's almost like I'm right about this.
I don't think that's whimsy, bro. I think that was serious, bro. It was weird that he called them homegrowns, though. That was weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Wait, place that.
clearly the way that we handle our prison population doesn't work. The rate of recidivism is the highest in the world.
Well, our prison system's like basically a for-profit industry, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. It's a money pit. It's a.
They don't have due process in El Salvador, though. They just lock them up.
Well, due process isn't a discrete thing. It's like completely contextual to whatever legal system you're within.
Yeah, right.
So
I agree. Our legal system is way nicer than theirs. We give people more of a chance to prove their innocence because they're innocent until proven guilty. So, anyway, get off of that. Let's talk about a website from the past that just got destroyed.
Okay, where were you when 4chan was killed?
I was eating Dorito, and I got a
I
phone.
saw the news. Sad.
I got a phone call. They said 4chan is killed. I said
Yeah.
no. Wait, how's
We
this?
basically just did it.
Is that how it goes? Okay.
Yeah. Which, funnily enough, originated there. That's a 4chan meme format. But almost any meme format, honestly, downstream of image board culture, of which 4chan was foundational to. So kind of first big news topic of the week. The image board chat forum website 4chan taken down in a hacker attack. User information exposed. If you were retarded enough to pay for a 4chan pass.
I was about to say, like, what? How user?
Yeah. So I mean,
Is this the 4chan gold?
yeah, 4chan pass. They joke about it being 4chan gold, but I mean, the site ran as long as it did because there were people paying for it. Sites don't just stay up for free. There's operating costs.
True.
But no, exposed a lot of user information, namely the identities of site moderators, known on that website as janitors, because they clean stuff up. You can say so many things about the janitor. We're not getting into those memes. A lot of them rhyme with really nasty words. We're not going to use those words right now, anyway. But yeah.
No. Yeah.
So yeah, just a huge expose, not only information on people, but where the website traffic came from. And yeah, more than half of the traffic on that website since 2014 came out of Israel. So pretty funny that a site that people want to point out and be like, oh, there's so much anti-Semitism comes out of this website. Who's it being done by? It really makes you think.
I think it was just. I think the anti-Semitism was just a test, bro. It's just a test.
Yeah. Or, I mean, the point I'm trying to make here
Well,
is
there's
not a very anti-Semitic website.
There's only one board. There's only one. The other ones are a little bit chiller for that. I don't think you find a lot of anti-Semitism on V. But now there's no V!
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hero says he's going to bring the site back.
Is he?
But, I mean, fucking, as of recording, we're still getting 503 service unavailable errors off of it.
Okay.
Funniest thing about this is it's a purged population of X4Chain users.
They did it.
That did it, yeah. They call themselves Soy Jack Party. That's their new website. They basically created their own image board. And they're like, you know what? We know how to do this. We're just gonna, you kick this out of your clubhouse. How about we burn your clubhouse down?
Yeah.
Not the only time we've covered something that Soy Jack Party is responsible for.
An act of retaliation.
Yeah. So
Wait,
they're
what?
the most directly responsible for this, obviously. But
What else do we cover from them?
yeah, in fact, well, they're heavily associated with the same groups as. Do you remember the Wisconsin school shooter from around Christmas time?
What was the name?
Sam something.
No, the name of the group.
Soy Jack Party.
No, the group that did all the shootings. I can't remember the accelerationists.
This is different than the Zizians, bro.
No, the accelerationists. The circles that
The
the Discord-
Zizians, yeah.
I thought it was
You're
just-
either talking about there's the Zizians. There's also the Order of Nine Angles.
I thought there was something else. Okay. I'm
No,
sorry.
all these things are all tied in together. This is like the same, like fucking 200 to 3,000 people. They're just all tied into all manner of destabilization and accelerationism. It's very interesting that these are rapidly becoming known quantities, even in normie ass people, and it's still nothing's being done about them. Almost makes it seem like those who could do something about it, aka law and order, they value these sources of violence and destabilization. Almost like there's some kind of like deep state plan. Makes you think, really sit with that and understand what kind of world and culture and society you're living in. But
Okay.
yeah, it's mostly sad. It is. I've advocated 4chan for the longest time. I think that if you understand how to go on there and you understand how to use it and you understand what it is meant to teach you and what it's meant to put you through, you come out of it on the other end better off for having done that and engaged with that. A lot of people can't handle that responsibility. It's probably in that positive that it is gone for now. A lot of people, a lot of edge case users are probably going to be like, they're going to get out of their routine habit of using it and then just never even check if it came back or not.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like once it's gone for a while, you're just gonna forget about it.
But still, end of an era, man. Like I said, so much of internet culture, which at this point, all culture is internet culture.
Yeah.
Especially as more and more of the world comes online. So much of today's culture is downstream of 4chan culture. So, end of an era. The source has been cut off. Where's culture going to come from now? Hard to say.
Not from there, because
I don't think there is nowhere currently that's as foundational, or as primary of a source, and such a size.
Primary, sure, but like there's places where culture is ongoing. Obviously, social media. just in
That's
general.
yeah, but you get what I'm saying.
Where did the trends come from? Reddit is kind of there.
Reddit is way too segmented. It is every.
But it's still like online culture, like kind of was the foundation of that.
Well, Reddit doesn't have culture so much as it has behavior. Reddit inculcates within an individual a mentality. That's you could point at somebody who's never touched that website before, and they could potentially have Reddit mindset. There's a lot of people. There's more Redditors than there are Redditors. That makes sense.
Okay.
I digress. Anyway, end of an era. That's all I have to say about that.
I got a bit of a requiem
Oh,
for it. I got some fun screenshots. I think I have four. So, if you'd be down, listener, if you'd be down.
start with a good one, and we'll go from there.
Oh, I got only good ones. So, real quick, this one's about our boy Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus drove his diesel truck up onto the beach of Hispaniola. "Damn, I love being white," he said, punching a native child as he climbed out. "I don't think this is China," said his navigator. "Shut up, libtard," came the reply from behind a veil of cigar smoke. "Please, sir," said the Taino chief. I guess that's like the whatever. "These are our ancestral lands where we have lived in entirely peaceful utopia for thousands of years. We don't even know what war is." "Sounds like woke nonsense to me," guffawed Columbus, his very presence introducing microplastics into the ecosystem as he cracked a Miller High Life. "This is MAGA country now, boy," he proclaimed before shooting the chief with an unregistered AR-15. The other natives scattered in terror, sheltering their non-binary tribe members from the bullets and slurs that now ripped through the tree line. "Keck," said Columbus, loading another 30-round assault clip. "This is based. Wait until 4chan hears about this." I thought that was pretty silly.
Good grief.
We all know the humor there, right? I don't think I need to explain that at all.
Yeah, there are a bunch of Democrats who believe that that's actually what happened in history.
You got a great one about a green text about being Chinese.
Okay.
Be Chinese. Wake up for work. Elevator is shut down because it cut someone in half. Use stairs instead. Can't use car because the garage collapsed on it. Barely avoid getting swallowed by a sidewalk sinkhole. Narrowly dodge a car that rolls over a 4-year-old child. Finally make it to train station. Escalator eats the guy in front of me. 10 people are trampled to death trying to get on train. Train derails, killing hundreds. Crawl out of rubble and stumble to work. Clock in at oil refinery and light a cigarette. Resulting explosion vaporizes 4 city blocks. Just an average day in China.
Yeah, well, from what I understand,
Pretty
they
silly.
need those kind of things to happen anyway because they've had too many sons. So
Oh, all the ones that weren't in the one-child policy, all the extras.
yeah, it really balances things out at the end of the day.
Obviously, this is all sarcasm, listener. If you take it seriously, you're redacted. This is great. You need to see the image here. This is Neil deGrasse Tyson on a podcast, okay?
The main thing he does.
And he says, "No, I can't tell you why the hallway chirps, but I can measure it. I can predict." I can. Hold on. It gets better.
It's funny because you can't, and none of the rest of them can either.
I gotta bet. It gets better. It gets better. Okay, this is science. Okay. All right, let me start over. "No, I can't tell you why the hallway chirps, but I can measure it. I can predict the next and following chirp. I have a very good understanding of it, and that's good enough for me. I'm not distracted by the philosophical side of why the hallway chirps. He's more worried about like measuring it instead of...
Oh my god.
I only have one more. Can I do one more?
No.
Come
You're
on.
done.
This is a good one.
You're done, kid.
This is a good one.
You're done.
It's about the Italians. It's good.
Oh, well, shit.
Italians,
You should have led with that.
Italians have always copied good inventions from other cultures and made them exceptional. Okay? Beretta took Walther's designs and made them sexy. They discovered noodles from China, removed the dog, and created pasta. They stole the idea of arches from the Etruscans and built colosseums and aqueducts. They took the gladius from the Iberians and conquered the world with it. They learned about sex from the Greeks and realized you could also have it with women. So, those are the ones I found. I thought they were pretty good.
It goes right in line with one of the foundational philosophical tenets of this show, which is the sequel is always better.
It's so true. That is one of our tenets. But yeah, guys, R.I.P. 4chan, the end of an era for now. I guess it's coming back, but will it be the same? It's
No.
never the same.
Especially given what we know about it now as well. Fucking not really.
Now that everybody's been doxxed, it's like, yeah.
Well, not even the doxing. It's more about the demographics of it.
That's what I'm saying. Because they got doxxed, everyone knows.
With no more plausible deniability. It's really not the political climate for that kind of action at this point. But speaking of 4chan, the last time it really was any good was 2016. Another very 2016 thing happened this week. The corpse of Content Cop was trotted out and paraded around like it still fucking meant something. And since we've talked about the subject of Content Cop more than we probably ever should have, I feel like it might be relevant to bring it up and at least address how pathetic the entire situation is.
So yeah, just like, I mean, talking about internet drama makes me happy, so.
Right on, man.
You know? I like it when I'm not involved in the drama. So, I guess we can continue our discussions a little bit of this. So, recently, there's been a new update to the whole H3 Hassan shit because Ethan refuses to let it go. He just keeps talking about it. And now apparently things are coming out about his children and dog and shit. I don't understand any of that. Like, are people really going to call CPS on his kids? Like, what's going on in that family? I don't know.
Well, they already have at least once. And I mean, not that CPS is a good or trustworthy function of our government, but it is clear that some kind of intervention needs to be made on Ethan Klein. He's like having a public mental health crisis for a year and a half now. Just getting worse and worse and more insane. On top of, he's already been very public about how diagnosed unstable his mental condition is.
Yeah, he literally talked about what's going on before. Like, he talked about him having this, like, same emotional response before on an old episode of his podcast.
So,
and that was on the Content Cop.
Yeah, kind of, you know, we live in a, freedom has a cost. And it sometimes means that people like Ethan Klein, who shouldn't be trusted around any children and probably shouldn't be trusted to have children, end up with children. You know?
I don't know what that man's like in his personal life, dude. I cannot tell you if he deserves to have kids or not. I think...
He prides himself.
You don't need a license to have a child. You need a license to drive.
But regardless, I mean, he has built his brand and he prides himself on being unfiltered.
Yes, that is true.
So
that is very true.
I feel like as opposed to a lot of public figures, we have a pretty good beat on exactly the kind of person, warts and all, that Ethan Klein is. So again, I don't vouch for CPS. They do a lot of shady shit. The entire foster care system is super fucked up in a lot of ways.
But I don't know much about that side of the drama. Like, I don't know who did that or what. Like, he keeps talking about these people, and I'm just
It could have been literally anybody. I mean, you could go through the backlogs of people and be like, this is where people would have even gotten the idea to call CPS from this guy. But, like, anybody could call, like, Anybody can call in a SWAT, which is still fucked up. Never pass up an opportunity to say nobody should be able to call in a SWAT. That's a bad thing. But yeah,
That poor squirrel.
I like it when anybody can tear into somebody that I already don't like.
But what if it's a person you also don't like?
Yeah, you kind of take that,
Because we all know iDubbbz has changed a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
He's changed a lot. He seems like he's enjoying the change and that he's found some sort of modicum of success and that he's comfortable with. Is what it made it sound like. He said his podcast only gets like 3,000 views, but which only is a strong word there. I would be so happy if this podcast gets 3,000 views.
it's comparatively, right? Like,
Right.
he still has the tens of millions of subs or whatever.
Yeah.
And within 24 hours.
Obviously, he's fallen off from where he was in 2016, is what that is.
Yeah, well, if you have 10 billion people that allegedly care about the content you're putting, you think more than 3,000 of them would watch.
Yeah.
That's the kind of point there.
But he was saying he was happy with that, and he's talking about just all the stuff that came up, man.
Yeah, I think the real problem I have with this, right, is that Content Cop, the idea of it as a series, is to go after people who are being hypocritical or clearly in the wrong, and rather than doing that for most of the hour, because there was a couple things that Ian iDubbbz got to that were good Content Cop style things to do. Good 90% of the video was like interpersonal bullshit.
Yeah, it's not. He was just like addressing all the shit that Ethan said about him.
Yeah.
Because there was a whole part on one of Ethan's plethora of podcasts. He's got like a bajillion at this point, it seems like. And he was like talking about he was blaming iDubbbz for not coming to his defense publicly online. We're such good friends. Why would you? I've always supported you. Why would you not? It's like you're in the wrong, buddy. like I mean, you are harassing everyone. Please stop. Why are you going after your friends now that have nothing to do with it?
Yeah, so to spend so much time on that was a good 20 minutes of the video, was him just being like, why would you say that, like...
He was debunking everything he had something to say about everything he said. Like, he responded to every little thing that he said about him.
So there was some, I'd say about maybe 10 minutes of that video, so more than 90%, like, there's like 10 minutes of actual, like, hey, I'm going after something I should actually go after you for. The rest of the video was all that interpersonal, like, does not matter, could not be less relevant to the idea of content copying somebody.
Right.
And then on top of that, someone else, this is someone else who pointed this out to me, but I'm going to co-sign this. It felt like an initiation ritual into the Hassan waiting room. That he did this video more than anything, not to content copy Ethan, not even to respond to the personal beef that he had with Ethan, but to fully win the approval of that circle of creators.
Right.
Which is just
That's what you're
like
proposing.
it's like the gayest possible thing you could do, which is on brand for iDubbbz these days. It's been on brand for him forever. He got famous for saying, "I'm gay."
What was the other one? Hey, I know. Ooh, that's pretty good. And then what was the other one? Hey, it was like...
There's several of them, but
I
it's
can't
funniest to blame it on just the "I'm gay."
Jump off the counter. I'm gay. I have osteoporosis.
Yeah.
Good shit, man. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from with like the Hassan waiting room, but at the same time, the video felt to me genuine. It felt to me like he cared about Ethan, and he was like, "Dude, you've got to stop." Like a little bit. I don't think he cared about him that much. Like, they're just like online friends at this point. So it's not like they have like a deep friendship, but like he was still like trying to get Ethan to see the light. It felt like.
Yeah,
Like, you got to get out of this hole you're in.
I don't see how anyone can be genuine and sincere when they've already disavowed.
All the shit they said.
Yeah, they've like disavowed essentially who they are, and then claim to have moved on from it in the way that Ian iDubbbz has, only to cash in on the format and the past behavior, to re-bring that up, to cash in on that again after disavowing it, only to win new people's social approval. So, I don't know. To me, it's like Ethan and the entire all of H3 deserve the criticism that they've been getting, and it's very funny. And some of it was good, and I co-sign criticizing H3 at every opportunity. It's always valid to criticize H3. Also, iDubbbz is a pathetic cuck, and the fact that he is cucking to the Hassan waiting room, it just compounds that even further.
Okay.
Really, I have to work this in somewhere because I just feel like saying it's going to make me happy to say. I'll have a good laugh.
Oh, God.
The thing I got stuck on from the video, I've successfully gone like a full decade without hearing Isla or Hila's voice. And like, did she get hit in the head or something? Her accent is worse than it was 10 years ago. To make zero effort to improve on your English after living in this country this long. Pathetic. Ethan has a dog wife who can't speak English.
Bro, you're like going to the lowest order with that joke. That's like the babiest, most straw man, like. Because, okay, so here's my reason for saying that. There's a streamer whose name is Michaela Nader. She plays DVD. She makes a lot of DVD content on TikTok. She went against another streamer. She was playing killer. She went against another streamer. The streamer didn't like how the match ended up playing, and then went to her stream. And then for the rest of her stream, the streamer, not Michaela Nader, Michaela Nader moved on for the match. She banned her after a while because she kept being annoying in chat, and banned her and then moved on. But the other creator kept talking about her accent because Michaela Nader's Mexican, so she's not. Her English isn't great. Well, her accent in English, it's not as great as like a normal native speaker. So that was really rude and mean to make fun of that, in my opinion. Like
Yeah,
that's
you-
a low
you-
for
You understand that I am being rude and mean on purpose. That's a person I don't respect at all. And I am trying to put her at the lowest possible level.
I feel like maybe we should
of
give.
regard.
I think we should give him more valid criticism than just your accent's bad. Like, I mean, I feel like maybe we should be like, your views about some other things are bad.
Yeah, I have so little respect for that person as an individual that I'd rather call her the retarded dog wife of Ethan Klein.
I don't think that Hila's that bad, bro, in terms of like her, like, I guess her English and appearance. I don't think she is like, I don't think she's necessarily stupid either. I just think that she's very biased on some things, and it comes out, it's pretty apparent. But she's from Israel, so you can't help it all the way. But she was very biased towards Israel during the whole thing.
Well, I think out of 140 episodes, I can do one on purpose rude, nasty comment, and I have a pretty positive record overall. So,
Okay, but the respect for women on the show.
You tried to sit there and teach me. You tried
It was the rude,
to
nasty.
explain to me.
It was a straw man.
Yes, I know. That's what I was doing. I told you wouldn't like it.
Well, I'm allowed. I don't know what you want from me, man. Anyway,
Going to the effort of detailing it out
yeah.
implies that you think I didn't understand that.
No,
which
I-
is a worse offense than me even saying that.
And see, you thinking I thought you didn't understand. You know that I know that you know that I know.
We're not getting into this recursive loop. I'm calling in the director. We're eliminating time. Yeah, but annihilate his time.
Annihilate his distance. My legs.
But yeah, no, just another fucking 2016 thing because that's when it was last relevant.
Yeah, but that was it was a wild video drop. I did not expect that. Didn't see it coming. But I wasn't up to date on all this news, so I didn't know. So I mean, once I know a little bit, like the fact that he shit talked iDubbbz on his show, because I don't watch Ethan's stuff. I don't watch that.
And yet you co-sign everything he says.
Not true. Not true at all.
He said he made the best video of all last year.
So true. Hey, you gotta admit, it was a pretty fun video. I would never need to watch it, but it was really good propaganda. It was really good propaganda.
There it is. But yeah, just weird. A very 2016 week. I mean,
Still don't like Hassan though.
you hear 4chan's down and a content cop just dropped. I had to check my calendar. And, let's not do any... No more throwback weeks, you guys. If you're out there planning events, let's do this year stuff.
Let's do
my
2025.
biggest takeaway of all. Let's do this year stuff.
Okay. But yeah, that content cop was crazy.
More like content slop.
I think that the ending was very sweet. Having everyone say nice things about Ethan to hopefully bring him back to reality. I thought that was really nice. That's why I think iDubbbz, I think it was a little bit genuine.
I don't know, it played very differently for me. One, because who was notably absent from... He brought back everybody from the little intro.
Even Hassan said something.
No, he didn't. Hassan was notably absent from the ending clips, the ending portion. So, no Hassan comment there, especially with how much bad blood there is between him and Ethan.
I feel like I remember him saying something.
That speaks volumes to the genuineness of it or whatever. And then also a manipulation tactic. Just pure emotional manipulation.
Right. I mean, sure, but like that's what he was trying to do. Ethan's very emotional. He's literally having a crash out on stream on this thing all the time.
But dang old
He's
thing.
always in crash out mode. Like just harassing all the people he thinks are his enemies. And I thought that was really funny because iDubbbz did a thing where he's like, these are the people he directly hates. These are the people he kind of hates, but he won't say it. And these are the people he can't say anything about. I was like, holy shit. And our boy Stavros was on the people he can't say anything about. I thought that was funny.
What a guy. Brother, I don't have anything else.
You want another good little news story?
Yeah, why don't you?
I just don't. I feel like there was a clip from Hassan, bro.
I promise you there wasn't. I watched the actual video, then I watched the end of it again because I didn't catch Ian crying to the therapist the first time. People overblew that one, by the way.
What does that mean?
People were like, "Oh, I can't believe iDubbbz ended it with him bawling his fucking eyes out to that therapist," which it was not nearly that dramatic. And there's nothing wrong with being in touch with your emotions like that, especially when you're talking about difficult things.
Yeah.
So I watched the ending itself multiple times.
Yeah, he talked to that guy like about some other shit besides the Ethan stuff.
And then I watched the whole thing again when Asmon finally reacted to it on stream. That was a fun
How was that reaction?
That was a fun stream, dude. I don't know how he does it every time. Asmon Gold comes out on top with the best, most level-headed, actual gauge on the scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's probably because he's removed from it, so he can like comment on it, you know. But yeah, so I got a fun news story for you that I thought you'd think was interesting. I don't know if you know about this. So there is a island, North Sentinel Island. It's in the Indian Ocean, and I'm not sure. I don't think it's technically a territory of India, but it's like protected by India. It's got the native Sentinelese tribe that knows nothing of modern humanity.
Yeah.
They use like bows and arrows and spears and shit to hunt, and they kill people when they show up on their island.
A 24-year-old American YouTuber, Mikhailo Viktorovich Polyakov, which doesn't sound like a regular American name, but he's born in America, I think. And he went there to that island to like try to film and like be with the people, and he left him a can of Diet Coke and a coconut. That was his thing. And then he left, and then he got arrested.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to go to that island.
Yeah, pretty stupid arrest. Pretty stupid that we don't let people go there. I've known about North Sentinel Island for a while, right? Because it's a pretty funny thing to joke about, first of all, in general. Second of all, it's pretty good trivia. I mean, that's a cool thing to know about. Philosophically, I really dislike the idea of leaving these people to their own devices, right? Basically, everything that's happened in the
That's
course-
your philosophy.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
Well, it's
on brand for you.
yeah.
That's what I mean.
I'm going to skip to the end of my analysis here, but it essentially amounts to them being considered not human or not worthy, and basically not human and not worthy of the access to the wealth of humanity that exists outside of that island. Like, there's no, to me, good-spirited argument for leaving them uncontacted and not being brought into the modern era. Like, those are lives and generations of people whose lives can be only remarkably improved by access to the things that we all have access to.
Right.
And, if you're worried about their culture going away or whatever, I mean, bring in historians, bring in anthropologists, get it all documented for posterity's sake. But to leave these people to languish in unexamined lives,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really disgusting that we're keeping the like zoo animals in their little fucking island existence.
Can you see where the other side's coming from, though? To leave them alone?
Yeah, I mean, and that's included in what I'm saying. And I'm saying it doesn't hold up. Like, if there's worthwhileness to that culture, that existence, go document it, get it archived. But time only moves forward, man. At least until we all get our own little raise from the Department of Science and Technology.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's these people that are being left to languish in, it's anti-humanitarian to not do it, for the world not to do what it can for these people. It's myopic. It's short-sighted, and in the short term, the whole idea of leaving them uncontacted makes sense. But in the bigger, greater picture, I just don't believe it does.
Yeah, I guess because in the bigger, greater picture, they would die out. Right?
Yeah.
Because they just can't even keep up.
Yeah, and again, without the documentation, without actually going in there,
It'll just be a lost culture.
Yeah, it'll be like they never existed at all. So, how good do you feel about it now?
Yeah, I think you might be right. Maybe they need to. I mean, it sounds like they have some documentation because we know things about them. But yeah, maybe they should get some documentation at least done. At least.
Yeah.
But sad that guy went to jail. He's gonna be in jail, and the American embassy is trying to help him. Obviously, we try to help our people that are in other countries and suffering, having problems. So, thought that was an interesting story, though.
Yeah.
Little Sentinelese news.
Fucking, if you're gonna do something like that and face those consequences, 24, not a bad time in your life to be taking those kind of risks.
Another just fun little piece of news for the Easter Sunday. In Detroit, a helicopter flew over a park and threw out marshmallows. Many marshmallows. And once they all were on the ground, little kids got to go and pick them up, and they got to exchange them for prizes. And that was a cute little Easter celebration.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
I just thought it was fun.
There's a happy ending to that.
That was lighthearted.
That was starting to sound really fucked up.
They don't eat the marshmallows. They fell on the ground.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure sure some of them got eaten though.
But come with me in my mind to where we all know the demographics of Detroit.
Yeah, we do.
And think about the idea for the Detroit Easter celebration is we fly a very expensive, essential symbol of late stage capitalism. Let's fly it over all these poor fucking and just pelt them with bullshit sugar treats. Eat these marshmallows, you fucking.
I don't think that's what it was. It's not supposed to. I think the kids would be happy to see the helicopter. Like, woo, you know.
Kids are stupid.
They got whimsy, bro. They got
I'm
whimsy.
saying, like the layers that conjures to mind. If you follow that thought process with me.
This is like, that's from like our perspective.
No, turning marshmallows in for pride, that's pretty cool, honestly. That saves the whole thing. That's different than the other helicopter story this week. Or was it this week or was it last weekend? I don't know, fucking some dude's family, like high level tech executive family. They were on a helicopter in NYC and they fucking died, exploded, crashed into the Hudson. The helicopter fucked up real bad. It was like a mechanical failure type thing.
Oh my gosh, into the Hudson?
Yeah.
Isn't that what Captain Sully did? Run down the Hudson?
Well, the Hudson's a big river, dog.
Yeah. But that was a plane. This is a helicopter.
Yeah. That was a crazy story.
Wow.
Yeah, real failure of coverage on that one.
Really brought it down for us. Really.
Yeah. I'm glad there was a good helicopter story in it and stuff.
Yeah, right. Anyway, you ready to part a shot?
Get me out of here, man.
Yeah, let's do it. So, I'm going to tell you, got to go to twitch.tv/Seth_Nacho411 Mondays and Tuesdays. Come check out the streams. Lots of fun, lots of good times. After that, let's talk about DBD, the game I play, because Behavior commissioned a real-life DBD experience in Glasgow, which is also famous for the real-life Willy Wonka factory experience. But this time, this was way better. The Willy Wonka one was advertised with AI and failed to live up to anything. This one, except maybe for the actors were pretty cool. In this one, the actors were also super cool. They made the real life experience a lot of fun. It was also kind of like a Comic-Con sort of deal. It looked like a convention, and then there was like this side thing where you could go and do the real life experience. So it wasn't like, it was probably like the main attraction, but it wasn't the only thing to do. It looked a little lame, honestly, from what I saw, but it was cool looking. Like, it probably was pretty scary to be in that. But the overall convention seemed a lot cooler, way better than the whole Willy Wonka thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So good on you, Behavior. It's fun. Fun to do that.
Over here, you already know, it's your boy. You know what that means. You know. In terms of a parting shot, I went and saw Napoleon Dynamite for the first time last night. They're kind of touring it around the country, like 21-year anniversary.
Yeah, you said went and saw, like at the theater?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't believe they showed that in theaters again.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like a cinema. It was at one of our downtown's actual...
Yeah, the little theaters, yeah.
Well...
I know what it is.
Based off of what you said, I can tell you. No, I'll tell you after.
Okay.
But, yeah, no, it was cool. Fucking... The actors,
great movie.
The actors for Napoleon was there.
Oh, really?
Pedro was there. Uncle Rico.
Really?
Yeah, there was like a whole almost 2-hour-long Q&A afterward.
I wish I could have gone to that. That's
But yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty cool to see it. For like anytime you see a movie for the first time, you do kind of want it to be on a screen, like a nice big theater screen that feels like the way it's intended, because it usually is intended to be seen that way. So
Talk about a low budget movie that did
I
it
fucking I co-sign that movie. That's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And if you haven't seen it in a while, go watch it again. And that's my shot.
Great movie.
Yeah. So leave you with that. Also leave you with this. Well, we always leave you with, because you always got to carry water, chop wood, and most importantly,
Xiaohongshu.